Good morning, everyone, and I do hope you are fine wherever you are. I am fine and I thank God. In the run up to the August 9th general elections 2022, politicians traversed the country selling their ideologies. The top runners were Raila Amolo Odinga and the then Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. These two individuals gave citizens various promises. They emphasized that they would fulfill all these promises when elected the president of Kenya. And I was very keen on William Ruto's campaign trail. And one of their concerns and one of their key points in the agenda when elected was the need for Kenya Kwanza government not to borrow. William Ruto strongly criticized Uhuru's government for borrowing too much. And I will give some two instances when William Ruto criticized the Jubilee government, of which he was part of. On February 2021, while on a visit in Kakamega, William Ruto was quoted saying, "I think you have all heard that as of today, even the unborn babies owe out lenders." That was William Ruto in 2021. On 30th January 2023, while in Mombasa, William Ruto was quoted saying, "When I came into office, we had a budget that we needed to borrow 100 billion, and I thought that was reckless and irresponsible." That is William Ruto talking strongly against borrowing. Now, with such clarifications, we have seen that William Ruto is a president who is committed not to borrow. In fact, he strongly criticized the former president Uhuru Kenyatta for continuous borrowing with no accountability. Now, that was William Ruto in 2021 and William Ruto in January 2023. Now, I want to talk about William Ruto in June 2023. On June 16th, 2023, the nation reported that the Kenya Kwanza government, that is William Ruto's government, plans to borrow 718 billion at least. That was the nation. The nation captured that William Ruto's government was planning to borrow 718 billion at least. In March this year, the nation captured that William Ruto's government sought 76.8 billion loan from international banks, that is specifically International Monetary Fund, the IMF, and World Bank, to supplement the 2022-2023 budget. That was on March 2023. Now, up to that point, we have seen a president who is good at doublespeak. we have seen a president who is saying this and doing that. We have seen that in 2021, William Ruto was strongly against government borrowing. He was strongly against Uhuru Kenyatta's government borrowing from international monetary bodies. That was in 2021. We have also seen that as of January 30th, 2023, the same William Ruto as the president of the Republic of Kenya was still against borrowing. Now we are seeing a different version of William Ruto in 2023 June, just starting March. That is 2 months after talking strongly against borrowing. We are seeing a different William Ruto who is a lover of borrowing. The government in March planned to borrow 76.8 billion. Then the government in June plans to borrow at least 718 billion to finance the budget. Now, you can also be the judge that we have a president who is good at doublespeak. We have a president who says this and does that. That is why I warn Kenyans and I warn my viewers. Politicians will never say the truth. During campaigns, politicians will say something to impress the public. They will say what you want to hear. Something like not borrowing. A country like Kenya, I understand that as at now, we can never survive without borrowing. Borrowing is part of our economic development. We must borrow in order to survive. Now, a president telling Kenyans that we are not going to borrow within a span of let me say 2 years or 1 year, the country is not going to borrow. For me, outwardly, I thought and I believed that that was a strong lie. Now, this has come to pass when Kenyans have now seen that the William Ruto of 2021, 2022 is different from the William Ruto that we see today. The William Ruto of 2021, 2022, and early 2023 was one who was strongly against government borrowing. He was strongly against borrowing from monetary bodies like in the IMF and World Bank. The William Ruto of June 2023 is one who loves borrowing, who recommends borrowing. When in Mombasa, he was just against 100 billion. He was against the government borrowing 100 billion. That was when he was in Mombasa in January. Now in June, the current president, William Ruto, is supporting a borrowing of 718 billion Kenya shillings. When I compare this with Uhuru's government, I see some critical differences. For example, between 2013 and 2015, Uhuru's government, of which the current president William Ruto was part of, borrowed, that is between 2013 and 2015, a span of 2 years. Uhuru's government, of which William Ruto was the deputy president, borrowed a total of 874.5 billion. That was against Kibaki's 738 billion during the Grand Coalition government. This 874.5 billion, which Uhuru's government borrowed in within 2 years, it was clear that the Jubilee government borrowed around 537 billion Kenya shillings every year between 2013 and 2015. The government was borrowing 437 billion every year. Now, let us look at Uhuru in 2013, 2015, borrowing 437 billion every financial year. Compared to Ruto's government, in 2023 alone, borrowing 718 billion at least. Now you can see, you are told during campaigns, the government will not borrow. That is what you are told during campaigns. The government will not borrow. We will raise funds. We will raise funds from taxes internally, and we will never borrow. That was the Kenya Kwanza government giving promises during campaigns. The same government, after assuming office in 2023, says that we are going to borrow more than what Uhuru borrowed. That is the message. That is the message. And Ruto's government is telling Kenyans that be ready to bear the consequences, because we are going to borrow more than what Uhuru borrowed in 10 years. And I believe that after 5 years, the Kenya Kwanza government shall have borrowed what Uhuru's government borrowed in 10 years. I can predict that. Ruto's government will borrow what Uhuru's government borrowed in 10 years. Within 5 years, they will have reached that limit. Uhuru's government, before leaving office, Uhuru's government borrowed a lot of funds. Let us talk about trillions. It was in trillions. My message to Kenyans, my very humble message to Kenyans: never believe politicians. Never believe politicians. When they tell you something, never believe them. Because from what we can see, President William Ruto is the king of doublespeak. I saw something, a post on Twitter by Pauline Njoroge, saying that when Ruto tells you left, he means right. When he tells you right, he means left. That is what translates in this debt problem. When Ruto was talking during campaigns, he emphasized that his government will never borrow funds. The same Ruto in June 2023 is committed to borrow. I don't know what you think, but that is my take. I believe Ruto lied to Kenyans, especially on debt. And I predict that after 5 years, that is by 2027, Ruto's government shall have borrowed what Uhuru borrowed in 10 years. I don't know whether my prediction will come true, but we will live to see how it will end. That is my take. I pray that you watch this video, share your comments, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel and share. Invite others to subscribe. We are just starting, and I pray and I believe that this channel will grow to be a very large platform, not only for Kenyans, but reaching all over the world. Thank you and have a very good day.